Today's Clash Royale video is about the new Mega Draft Tournament, which is the first ever Mega Draft Tournament release in Clash Royale. Today's Clash Royale video gives you the best tips and tricks how to dominate the Mega Tournament and how to pick your cards the best to win as many games as you can. With this video, you will have a big advantage over the other players which are not really familiar with this game mode, and I can tell you guys this will be worth it to watch. So make sure to watch until the end to pick up some great and the best tips and tricks for a new tournament. If you guys enjoy my content, always want to get better, make sure to subscribe and always make sure to use Create a Good Morten in the shop if you guys appreciate my effort. I would say let's dive jump into that, and I'm gonna explain you how to pick the cards and what are the most important tips and tricks for the new Mega Draft Tournament. So the most important tips and tricks for the Mega Draft Tournament isn't just like playing Clash Royale. The most important thing, it's kind of like a chess game. You need to pick one of the 6, 12, 18, 24, 36 cards. Pretty easy to explain. You're gonna pick first, then the opponent's gonna pick twice, then you're gonna pick once again, or like your opponent's gonna start and you were able to pick twice in a row. So this is kind of the main thing. It's kind of like chess. You need to get a great start and kind of think about what the opponent should pick and what you will pick. So it's kind of always about prediction. I'm gonna refer this to kind of my gameplay with Mohammed Light, who just won a draft tournament, draft tournament. So I think it's really great with it. I play the best of 7 on Rich Slayton channel. Also make sure to check out Rich Slayton. So what are the best main strategies at the start of a triple draft game? So I would say picking a win condition first is pretty dumb. Why? First of all, if you pick a win condition first, you're giving the opponent the ability to kind of pick cards which are good with your win condition. Example, you're picking, let's say, the Hawk Rider, and there's Earthquake available. The opponent can pick Lee, or like most likely can pick the Hawk Rider, or even easier, there's the Electric Giant. You pick the Electric Giant first. There's the Nado and the Lightning open. Your opponent's at example using the Lightning, the Nado, and together with a Royal Giant at example this type of card collection. So this is kind of thing. So I would say first of all, starting off with cards which are like not really able to counter it. Best example, right? You're having a Magic Archer at example, and your opponent, or like there's no fireball available. So like picking a Magic Archer first is pretty smart, because first of all, Magic Archer gets a lot of value, 1%, and also it's a solid card itself, which is like supporting most of the decks and works in most of the decks. So just having the most ability, or like the most options available, is the most important thing in triple draft. So don't make sure that you still have a ton of options at the end of the game, that you're not like at the end like having a weird deck. So giving like, or like making most options available that you can or like to choose between 2 or 3 win conditions at the end, which make your deck great. So at example, you're building a really solid deck, and at the end you have like Electric Giant and Royal Giant, and all of the 3 cards work pretty well in your deck, and can still decide at the end is the best thing. So we're just gonna go like kind of take a look here. We have like a few seconds. So why is Mo taking the Archer Queen? So he's just taking the Archer Queen. Even Lightning is available because Archer Queen is just so solid. And I can tell you guys, you will win 70 to 80% of the games just by drafting. I would say this game mode takes way more skill than triple draft at example, because you have way more decision making, because there are way more cards for sure. Sometimes it can be unlucky. Example, which is also a great pick in this draft mode at example, is Elixir Pump. If the Elixir Pump is like available and there's no EQ at example, always take the Elixir Pump first, because it allows us to be great in a ton of decks, especially in beatdown decks, but also the opponent doesn't really have a response. So once I lost against Mo because he used the pump early and there was no big spell and he had the first decision. So this is kind of what you need to take advantage of. So first of all, look at all the cards, and then the first pick should be a card which is like getting a ton of value in a type of matchup, but he's exactly like picking the Archer Queen here because it's just a champion and it's really solid overall. So I guess this is the first triple draft match I ever played, so I think in this type of match I'm doing a small mistake, so we kind of like taking a closer look at Mo, I guess. So I don't know what am I gonna take. I just hope I'm gonna take something smart. I hope I'm not gonna pick up English first of all. I also had to like kind of learn out of that. So this was a smart pick, as I said. So no fireball wave, but it was smart, but I also had to learn like my tips. I just got them from Mo Light, I got them from other players, I just learned them myself, so I'm just kind of trying to give the tips to you guys. So for sure, we'll also go like gameplay the next couple of days when the global tournament is there, and I'm just trying to push #1 in the world. So stay tuned for that, as I said. So he just used the Archer Queen, so he cannot use another champion. So let's see what he decides to pick, and he just goes in for the. And no, I'm wrong, guys. I picked the Archer Queen and Mo Light took the Tornado. Sorry, I'm wrong here. So I took the Archer Queen because it was just a champion, really solid, and Mo does do, or like, but does pick, sorry, the Magic Archer and Tornado. Why does he pick that? Really easy explanation, as I said, the Tornado is really solid overall. It's one of the best spells in the game. We have 3 small spells, as you guys can see, with the arrows, with the Barbarian Barrel, and also with the Tornado. Also, Tornado allows him to build an Electro Giant deck, so this might be smart, and also like Electro Giant or like Tornado, Magic Archer, Electro Giant would kill my Archer Queen or counter my Archer Queen. So he always is like building up a great deck, which would also work with different decks like Magic Archer, or I mean with Battle Ram or Royal Hawk. So Magic Archer Tornado already a great start for him to kind of get in the good direction. So I'm able now to go with the Royal Giant. This is exactly what I said. I did a mistake there. You should not pick your win condition that early, because now he's going to respond to your win condition and building a deck around to counter that. So this is just the most important tip in this draft, in this global tournament. Don't pick your win condition early. So, because they're more normally at least like 3 win conditions. Like here they're like more, like there's like E-Golem, there's the Electro Giant, there's the Giant, there's the Royal Giant, there's the Jewel, there's the Goblin Giant. So I'm just gonna go for the Goblins also. I mean, Goblins just like a safe pick. Sometimes you don't really want to commit into like picking a win condition, or you just kind of want to bait your opponent to do a mistake with by picking. So this is kind of why I like also to choose Goblins as example. And Goblins are just so solid. I mean, they're always doing their job. They're a solid card, but they're not really showing anything from your deck, if you want to say it like that. Our opponent, Mo, at this point, is going to use now, or is hopefully going to use now, something interesting. Let's see, what is he going to pick? What is Mo going to pick? And he's going to use the Bramble. Once again, as I said, a card which works pretty well for him. So, let's more closer take a look, as I said again, for Mo, because he's considered to be the best triple Mega Draft player. Did I say triple draft before? I apologize. So, he just has he has like the ability open to go for an Electro Giant. But even like I picked the Electro Giant, I won't most likely pick the Electro Giant. This is kind of what my problem is right now. I normally need to take away the Electro Giant from Mo here, but I cannot, since I already have the Royal Giant. So this is also another point. First of all, you're gonna show him what my win condition is. Second of all, he can build now his deck around his Electro Giant, because I can't pick it since I would have had 2 win conditions. So he's kind of building the perfect answer deck, but still just decides to pick the Barbarian Ball. Also good against Goblins and just really safe there. Next pick up here for Mo once again. So let's see, what's Mo gonna pick now? Mo's gonna pick the E-Bobs. Why is he picking E-Bobs? I mean, they work really solid in Royal Giant deck, and also I think it's the best support card for, an E-Giant deck against the Royal Giant. It's also the best support card. Other ability would have been like the Lumberjack. Yeah, I mean, there's no other single target damage, right? So, no Golden Knight, so I think E-Bobs just really solid with the Electro Giant example, and also against the Royal Giant here. So, let's see what I'm gonna do. So I'm going to use the Pick the Lightning, because Royal Giant Lightning itself can be really smart, and also it's like really my only big spell ability. Right now I'm struggling, because I know, bro, I don't really have too much against, if he picks E-Giant, what am I going to do? What am I going to do, guys? So I'm going to pick the Furnace here, just to have a building, but the EQ was still open. I think I missed that, so you need to be really focused on seeing what you could do, what would be the best thing, and kind of predict the pick from the opponent. It's kind of like a chess game, right? I don't know if you're playing chess. I've actually played chess for like 5, 6, 7 years, and the main thing in chess was always like considered to be what the best chess players did. They were always like predicting the next 10 moves. So if you're like watching Magnus Carlsen, that example, who was like a chess world champion, he was always like, they were like always like 30, 40, 50 steps ahead. He's like, okay, if I do this, he will do this, then I'm gonna do this, and at 50, and in 50 steps I will win the game. So this is kind of the important thing, which is also for sure not as deep here in Clash Royale Mega Draft, but it's kind of same thing, if you guys understand what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna use the Furnace, he uses the EQ, smart thing, now the opponent's turn. So what is Mo gonna pick? Mo's gonna pick the Guards, just a solid card. Just a solid card example, because he knows now I could pick the Lumberjack, so he needs a small card which is solid against the Lumberjack at example, so he decides to pick the Guards, and I'm picking Lumberjack because it just works so good. So he kind of predicted what I want to pick, and I still had to pick it because otherwise I don't have any single target damage available. So it's just so many small things. I'm also going to use now my Heal Spirit here, or having my Heal Spirit here. Might be solved with the archery and so on. So, yeah. He's most likely now, he has like 2 cards remaining. So what could he pick? I mean, most likely it will be the Electro Giant. And then there's some other options, right? There's the Delivery, there are the Arrows, there are like the Bandit. I think like the Goblin Heart also might be an option for him, to be fair. But Goblin Heart might be an option since I just have Lightning. So I would say he could pick the Electro Giant and the Goblin Heart. But he could also, yeah, Delivery. I mean, Delivery doesn't really make too much sense. So I would say maybe the Goblin Heart would be a smart pick from our side here. So he decides to pick the Electros. Okay, Electros I'd also pick. I didn't really think about since he gives us some lightning value. So maybe instead of Mo, I would have picked here Goblin since the Goblin would have gotten a ton of value. But I mean, to be fair, his deck was really sold already. So most like now it's time for him to pick the win condition. So win condition last, as I said. If I wouldn't have picked the Royal Giant early, he still would have had like a ton of decisions open. And now for me, it's the last pick. And also, I can spoiler you guys already. I get absolutely destroyed in this game. So this is now my last pick. What am I gonna pick? And I think I'm just gonna... Do I go for the hut here? No, I'm just gonna go for Delirium. Okay, do I just have a small spell and I can just go move forward, straight up lose because I don't really have the answers against Electric Giant and so on. So this is kind of what I show, right? Like this is like a really bad matchup for me. If I play against a good player as Mohamed, I will lose this game. So you kind of need to make sure you can win against better players just while being smarter. So these are the main tips and tricks to win and dominate in the new Magnaroth tournament. Let me know what you guys think about this type of video. I just tried my best to give you the best tips for it. And I would say I'm out. Thanks for watching. I love you guys. Goodbye.